You must fall away.
Are these motherfuckers swimming? These motherfuckers are swimming. Are these motherfuckers the stupidest people on this planet? What is going on? Am I living in a clown world? They're swimming! There's a boat right there! What are they doing? What the fuck is happening? What's the goal? They're gonna swim me out back to shore when I'm fucking dead? What? We have a sergeant of the BCSO swimming to the yacht.
183, you're gonna have a black two-door super.
Swimming! God damn it!
Fine. I was supposed to go buy 5 more cars, but now I can't.
It's been
You were at the wrong place
20
at the wrong
seconds,
time.
ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ. Mr. Miller, what are you doing still up? Sit your ass down in those chairs over there! Sit them down! I want to see an animation! Sit them down! Come on! That's not on the chair, but I'll do.
Hospital.
I am just, I
You
cannot
gotta fix it
fathom.
there, and I'll
Cannot
return the
fathom
boat,
that they
and
did
I'll
not
go
get a
and I'll
fucking
meet you
thing.
back at the hospital.
I said it was literally an officer as well. I literally said he was wearing a badge.
Your vehicle's still up here, right?
Well, I don't get it. I honestly just, it's beyond me. It's beyond me. They are lucky I'm unconscious. They are lucky I'm unconscious. I would kick each one of those motherfuckers' asses. Alright? They better hope to God they don't tell me how they brought me back. They better hope to God they don't. I will wreak havoc.
Maybe.
There's another cougar here! Oh my god, please help!
What?
He's on my ambulance!
Go down.
Thank you very much.
I hope everybody knows watching live how much this hurts me. This is the worst kind of punishment any man or woman could endure. They swam out to get me. That's dedication. But they swam out to get me. They swam. They swam. I said, you know what I said? I said, you know, I'm an officer, right? I'm an officer. I said that I'm an officer of the law, and that's what I said, right? I'm a cop. Alex said he was coming, and he didn't come. I don't know why he's not here. Why am I getting swam out? How does this make any sense? Someone explain that to me. How in God's green earth is there a time where 2 cops, including probationary, by the way, decides that it's a good idea to swim all the way out there, all the way to get someone who's dead? Where's the logic? How are you gonna bring him over? Are you gonna swim him back? Are you gonna swim back? What is he gonna say? That I'm gonna swim back? I'm gonna swim back, and now he's swimming back. There, come out! It's LSPD! Hey, let me see your hands, man! 121 1 at gunpoint. Hey, hands up!
Is this him?
I don't know. Let me see your hands. Turn around. Up against the wall, please.
I tell you the honest truth, alright, bruh?
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna cap. I thought you were Price. Cause we got a 911 from these yacht dudes, right? Saying they got an officer.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know it was you.
Uh-huh. But I was
You
an
know how
officer, so
Price-
you like came like as fast as possible, you know, just doing whatever you can, getting everyone up, getting everybody ready.
Hey, I can't fly in helicopter.
So how'd you get out there?
Arms
swam.
and feet, bro. What the hell?
You what?
Wait, no,
Swam, bro.
You what? Can you say that one more time? You what?
SWAM.
Swam.
You swam! Who the fuck swims? Huh? Who does that? Who just swims over to a yacht when there's a dead guy there? Who? Who does that?
Just
I was dead!
I didn't know you were dead.
Now fuck you motherfuckers! I'm out! I'm out! Get the fuck away from me! You swam out there! You didn't have a boat! You didn't have nothing!
I'm not. I can't
You
get
didn't,
it.
I was dead, man! I was fucking dead! Just dead! Cold,
I didn't
cold
know you
rock!
were dead.
I knew I was dead! Get the fuck away from me! Get away from me! Hey, get the fuck away from me! I don't want to talk to you! I don't want to talk to you! Fuck both of you! Fuck both of you! You're done! I'd rather die in Mount Chiliad, because then maybe someone would come! Fuck ridiculous! I'm walking back! I ain't swimming back, I'm walking back like a normal fucking human! Fuck you guys! Fuck you! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope we're all doing well. It is 7:07 p.m. MDT, 7/19/2021. That is July 19th, 2021. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day so far. We're gonna be patrolling as per usual, and hope I can get a little bit longer than a fucking hour because Jesus Christ, these last few days have been not nice to me at all. Alright, let's see. A basement. Alright, we're gonna have a probie today. So let's get this done. We're gonna have a probie today, so that's gonna be fun. Alright, let's see. FTO reports.
Hello.
Good day, Miss Bell. How you doing today?
I'm good. I was just doing a ride along and he had to go pop his head a few times so he can hear me again.
Oh, okay. Alright, you're just gonna give me a minute here while I can get your stuff set up. Can you tell me your badge number and your full name, please?
Badge number is 344. Name is Noelle Bell.
Noelle Bell. Alright, Miss Bell. Is that fine with you if I call you Miss Bell?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, Miss Bell. The way I train people is a little bit different. You're gonna learn a few things that you wouldn't normally learn. We're gonna see if we can kind of get the time requirements out of the way, if that's a possibility. Just depends on how well you heed to the training that I'm giving you. All right.
Okay.
While I'm writing this stuff up here on my phone, can you tell me how much experience you have when it comes to law enforcement?
0.
0 experience. That's fine. That's fine. We can start off fresh, and we can start from the basics. Do you know any laws, case laws, any of the basic stuff, or are you just hopping in right clean?
I know absolutely nothing.
Oh, this is gonna be great. All right, Miss Bell, let's go hop in the vehicle so I can actually get this on my laptop.
Okay.
And you said it was 344 or 355?
44.
44. All right. 621 show 344. Touch my call sign. I'll be known as 621. All right, so I have him. Wait, did I make a copy?
Yeah, when I found out you were my FTO, I emailed Jameson and he's like, "You're lucky, I hate this."
Why? Is Jameson still out of the phases yet?
He's out of his phases, but he says that you're a great teacher and he's very jealous.
Well, I'm a great teacher because I've been doing this for 10 years. So, well, 13 years now. So,
Yeah, that would make sense.
you know, I know a lot.
2022,
Yeah,
send me
just give me a
up for
second.
vehicle repairs.
All right, Noel. Is Noel spelled Noelle?
Yes.
Okay. Noel Bell? Is that how we do that? Yeah, okay. What if I just like what, Clapsy? Train, probationary. Redeem purposely crashed vehicles with my channel points. Don't do that. Please don't do that. That would be really rude. Does Bell have an E on the end, or is it just B-E-L-L for you?
It's just E-L-L at the there's no E at the end of it.
Alright. Alright, we can start off with today's date, which is 7/19/2021. May I ask which time zone you were in?
I am in Central.
Alright, I'll make a mental note of that. 7/19/2021 and 7/12. This is gonna be fun. Have a good one.
140, is that 621?
Yes.
Do you have 344?
Yeah. Alright, Miss Bell, this is gonna be fun. I don't think I've ever taught someone who's been completely clean before, so this is gonna be. I hope you're gonna learn a lot. I'm gonna enjoy this.
That's kind of the goal. Whenever Pierce interviewed me, he asked, what's one trait I have that would make me a good officer? And I was like, well, I love learning, and this is a completely
Oh,
new
this is gonna be
learning
great.
experience.
Alright, this is gonna be fun. So, I just got a few questions for you while we take a drive. We're gonna head out to Sandy because the I rate is a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to see, you know? Sandy's just a place to be. But when I get into the more detailed stuff, I'll explain like where you should be patrolling and all that. But for right now, we're kind of take it slow because nothing that I'm gonna ask you and teach you is gonna require another person other than me. Because people do training a lot differently from one another. But I would say the way I've done it is kind of a science at this point.
Okay.
So I'll get into it. But yeah, why'd you decide to join the BCSO?
So I became friends with Peach as my first friend in the city, and she mentioned that BCSO is always looking for new deputies, and that she feels like Briggs would have a lot of fun with another girl around. So I was just like, okay, BCSO it is. Also, I don't know, green's fun.
Green's fun? That's your reasoning. Okay. Listen, I get that.
Okay.
I get
But
that.
Peach told me BCSO would be a good fit, so I trust Peach, so I went with what she suggested.
Yeah, I would say that either or, just it just depends on, you know, the command team and the supervisor team. I think everyone's pretty well versed in what they're doing, so you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, like, I've ridden along with Pierce, I've ridden along with Jameson, I just rode along with,
Shovel?
Shovel. So I've had experience with multiple people and just ride-alongs, which is probably how I'm gonna spend, like, random time before you come on duty if I'm around, to just expose myself to a bunch of things. When I ride along with Jameson, I just mess with him half the time because it's funny.
Yeah. You're gonna hear some beeps, that's just the radar. Don't be alarmed.
Okay.
Alright, that's just me toggling the radar so I can see what people are at. So, you've passed Academy, you're on your phases, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions. If I'm completely honest, I want you to answer these incorrectly, because the way I teach people is being incorrect is never a bad thing. It's actually how you learn better, in my opinion, because you have to do a mistake to really learn from something, like, properly, in my opinion. Knowing it is fine as well, because you show that you know it, but I would recommend and I'm not saying you're going to this, but I recommend not having anything open other than just being in my vehicle, nothing external with like SOPs or anything, so you get the right answer. Because I want you to be incorrect, so I can correct you and you can learn better. You'll retain that information more. You understand?
The only thing I have in front of me is a notebook and a piece of paper.
Awesome. So, do you know what the speed limit is on this road?
80.
Okay. Do you know what the speed limit is on Route 68? Do you know what Route 68 is specifically?
I know where Route 68 is. I do not know the speed limit because I don't have a personal vehicle, so I have not driven out of the city.
Okay. Speed limit on any road that isn't a highway is usually 40. We'll let
Okay.
people off with 50 most times. You don't want to be known as the officer or deputy who pulls someone over for doing 5 over. It's just not what you want to be known for. So, you know, we'll just let people do 50 on normal roads. So we're coming up on Union Road on our right and East Joshua Road on our left here. And these would be 40 zones. Okay, so right now we're in an 80 zone. We'll merge over here. You're not required to do like traffic signals or anything crazy like that, so don't even worry about it.
I wouldn't even know what muscle or how to.
I don't know
figure
either.
that out.
All I know is your backspace muscle does hazards, and that could be useful.
I know how to put on sirens and lights. I remembered those.
Yeah. So I got a few questions regarding your retaining of information from the academy. So that's what phase 1's going to be about. Phase 2. City unit respond, please. But on phase 2, which hopefully we'll be able to do together, because right now it's kind of like lackadaisical when it comes to FTOs. It's like if you can get with an FTO, you get with them, and then they'll train you on how to do stuff and all that. But for me specifically, I'm on every single day around this time for the next 3 hours, you know? So
Yeah, and
you can kind of either work your schedule around mine, or I can change my schedule around yours, whichever works.
that works for me for this
As an
week.
individual,
Actually, no, that
physical
should work
object
for
and
me
thing.
most of the time. I have like certain days where I have out of city commitments, but other than that, I'm literally able to be around whenever.
Signal 100 in
Definitely,
effect.
Active 1080.
Do you know what a signal 100 is?
Priority?
Yes, that is priority traffic only. So that means that right now, if you were going to pull over this camper in front of us, we would not radio it
7 secondary.
because they're in a priority.
Southbound, moving stairway.
And the priority was the bank.
No, there's an armed bank truck robbery right
Moving
now.
left hand turn towards Legion Square.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I saw bank in it, and it was
Turn
flashing.
left hand turn north.
Yeah, you definitely read bank, but it's a bank truck is what it said, I believe.
1 arm.
Okay.
All right, give me a second. I just need to allocate a little bit more units here.
I'm gonna be hit. Once give me in soft ghost. I need units.
20.
This is the third
728.
time that
728 Del Perro Freeway. Go ahead.
this is the third
I'm
time
gonna be
since
shot.
I've been on duty that shots have been fired at officers.
Doesn't happen as often as you think. I just
Right,
it's
go,
just it's crime's acting up today.
Let's just
Yeah, no, one was somebody stole a van and then shot at us. The other one was a 2 occupied car. Passenger got out, was in a black car, shot at us, and then stole the vehicle.
So, can you hazard a guess of why I'm not responding to this
Shut
right
up.
now?
We're really far away.
Okay, that's one reason. Any others?
126.
Is there
126 on
already
the,
enough units there?
Route to the shots fired. It's gonna be
Yes, but when it's a 1099 or an officer in
Any
distress,
EMS on duty?
usually it requires more officers.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
you,
gonna shut up bad.
from your academy, if you're
we
recalling
need
back to the
20
academy, do you remember
23.
what scene, like let's say there was a scene happening right now where there's an officer down, would we respond to that? From here.
I need a unit.
No.
So there's an officer down in the city, and we won't respond from here. Why do you think that?
I got one officer
It's
passed out here.
possible that the person who shot's gonna flee out to this area, and
Okay.
then you can catch him out here. I don't necessarily remember from Academy.
So what I'll ask you as a counterpoint is, what's more important, catching the person who shot the officer or officer security?
126. Let me get an
Officer
officer
security.
up here to watch this guy in
So,
cuffs. So I
with
can take the officer
that
down.
importance
So
in
go
your
back
mind,
and
your
pass out
words,
now.
are you responding it to the officer down from here, or are you waiting for the criminal to come up here?
Neither. You're staying out of it so that way that there's not as many cops down, so that way there's still patrol.
So, when it comes to officers down, there is a 1% chance that you're gonna be in a situation where you don't want to respond, and 99% of the time you are required to respond. Anytime there's a 1013, you're responding. Doesn't even matter if we're in Polito. Reason being is because we want everybody there. Now we do have our limits, so we can only respond per SOP guidelines and government ruling. We can only have 8 total. But before that, it doesn't matter. If there's an officer down, you want every single person there. Now the reason I didn't respond to the 1099, which is a officer in distress, is because he wasn't down. If he had went down there, there's a reason why I have it marked, because I would have turned on my lights and responded code 3. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what code 3 response is?
No.
Okay. So we need to think back to the academy. There was a part where you were driving to a place. You remember that? You were driving to the place where all the talking stuff happened.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were driving there, you had 3 stages of lights. You had what we're doing now.
Oh,
Code
okay.
1. Right? And then you had this,
I'll be en route to
which is
pillbox.
code
Which
2.
is code 2.
One for Jeremy.
And then we had this. And that's code 3.
See, I didn't remember what it was called. I know what those are. I just didn't remember what it was called.
Yeah. So usually people will, because that's useful information there to know what it's called, because sometimes me as a watch commander, and I'll tell you later what the watch commander is, but me as the watch commander, I'll go in and request, and like, hey, I need 2 units, 1017 to the location code 3, you know?
6. It's me and an officer that passed out.
Got it.
Currently
Or
doing
I think
medical treatment.
Mr. Gold is there as well.
I was telling Shovel this earlier. I was like, Academy, they told us it's a lot of information at once.
26,
My
I'm
brain's
attempting to
still
pull out
digesting
two
half of
abandoned
it.
LSPD chargers
Yeah,
on scene.
that's why phases are the better, in my opinion, the better form of training, because while they're both good in their own ways and they're both necessary, I would say it's easier to retain information because this kind of stuff happens. Well, like it's not like I'm testing you right now. It's more of just a conversation back and forth, and in my opinion, it's easier to retain information. But if you have any suggestions on how I can do it better, definitely send them my way. Because I'm always for self-improvement.
No, and I like how that it's more of a conversation, because then I'm not sitting here every time there's a question thinking, oh, if I get this wrong, I'm fired.
No, I want you to get it wrong, because then it's just easier. So we're actually gonna stop up here because I need to check off a few boxes, and I need to see your uniform and make sure that's all good. If it's not, we can go correct it down at the mission row for later on. We'll hop it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get you to hop out in the rain.
They didn't know what numbers for the female uniform, so I'm in the short sleeve because we couldn't figure it out.
All right. Yeah, looks fine. Yeah, everything's good. You can check that off. So, and I might have got a double lock there. Nope,
Stupid.
it's fine.
I
but
hate that it does that.
that was because I double locked it. If I hadn't locked it and unlocked it while you tried to open a door, that wouldn't have happened. All right, we're gonna check this off.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out the uniform, and I was the only girl, so they were just like, just keep going until you find it.
Yeah, our memory is pretty bad, especially because we don't get a ton of females. Unfortunately, we don't get a ton of females when coming into the department, so it's definitely not top of mind. Mind you,
No.
I don't remember my own shit anyway, so.
Oh, and when I come into the city, I'm on duty, and when I leave the city, I leave the city, and that's it.
That is a good thing to be doing. I would leave Civ stuff to your other egos, if you understand what I mean.
My other ego is 100% like as of right now, she's a workaholic.
Yeah, so I'd try to keep that separate. I know that some people, even the higher ups like Briggs, for example, are able to maintain it. But if you want, like, if you enjoy this, when we actually get into it and you actually understand it completely, and you actually think that you enjoy this, try to keep it separately, because you can get arrested really easy in the city, and you'll see it happen where, like, someone could literally recklessly drive and go to jail.
Yep.
And while I don't encourage officers to charge people for recklessly driving, it can happen. So it's not like, it's not like they're doing it illegally or anything. It's completely fair. Alright, so, what do you think the proper radio call is to change your status? So if you were going to go on the radio, and mind you, in this hypothetical scene, I don't want you to go over the radio. I just want you to say it over voice. But in this hypothetical scenario, what do you say when you're going back, like you just cleared off a call and you need to say that you're coming back on duty or whatever? What do you say over the radio?
I would say my call sign. So 344, seen as code 4, back 10-8.
Okay, that is correct, but you forgot your F. So you're 344 Frank. That's fine. It's just a part of your call sign, and eventually it won't be, so you're going to create a bad habit for yourself eventually, but it is necessary so we can tell who's a probationary and who's not. But it would be 344 Frank, show me back 10-8, show me clear off scene 10-8, show the scene code 4 10-8. It's all dependent on what's going on in the scene. So, like, let's say we just cleared off booking right here at Polito. 621, clear off booking 10-8. Okay? And the reason why it's like that, the reason why it's quick and to the point like that, because we don't want any unnecessary radio traffic. We want it to be as short as possible.
Yep.
What would you say to... what would you say over the radio if you were to respond to a call? Let's say this 10-1, this drive-by shooting on Calfia Road.
222, whose LSPD cop cars are going to be left on scene here?
160.
And if you want, you can turn off your radio, because I wouldn't say you need it for this.
157.
Makes it a little bit easier to pay attention.
If I'm gonna need to ride there.
I'll come pick you guys up here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's really hard to concentrate and think with that in my ear right now.
Yeah, so you can turn it off. I'll re-ask the question.
Okay, it's off.
Okay. So, what do you think the proper radio traffic is for responding to a 911 call? So, let's say there's a 911 call at Postal 034 on Great Ocean Highway, or 041 on Great Ocean Highway. What do you say over the radio that you're en route?
Police Avenue. He's not stopping at this time.
If it's the latest 911, then I would say 344 Frank en route to latest 911.
Okay, that is correct. Yes, that's what you would say. Is there any other variations that you know of that to say it differently? Quicker, slower?
No. I don't remember the other one.
Okay. So, there's a few ways you can say things to say, and for some reason I have my shotgun in my hand.
I'm gonna have him stop here. That's Bushy Boulevard. Oh, Lucio.
All right, but there's a few other ways. So you have two specific main ways to say you're en route to something. 621, show me, or I'll be en route to X, right? Whatever the call is. the latest 911 call, the 911 call at 990, the whatever, right? But you can also use a 10 code, which is our list of codes that also mean the same thing. So 1017 would be the code for en route. So 621 1017 less latest 911 call, you know?
Okay.
But also keep in mind that using the radio traffic latest 911 call is a double-edged sword, because sometimes the calls could double up and no one knows where you're going.
I think what Shovel did was he would say latest 911 and then say like Grand Theft Auto or whatever the actual call concern. Like for that would be reckless driving on Grapeseed. He would mention where. Yeah,
that is how you avoid that. But sometimes saying that can also be too cluttered, so you kind of just you do it by feel. It's like, hey, it's like radio traffic really quick right now and everyone's like over the radio like constantly. Well, then maybe I should, you know, make it really quick. It's like, hey, I'll be en route to that last 911 call. You know, I'll say my call sign first and all that. But if the radio is slow and we have a lull in the radio, well, then you can be more specific. But also, if things are really fast and the radio is really fast, and sometimes you need to say, well, hey, I'm en route to the reckless driving call on this postal.
Okay, I've got this muscle car pulled over. He's taking off again. Calais Avenue, Lucille.
Can you list to me, per a scenario of your choosing, what a unprofessional interaction between you and a civilian would be?
Not too sure.
Could be anything.
When we have units on scene, we're
an unprofessional?
Yes.
Okay, so like for a traffic stop, say I'm gonna use Peach because she's my friend, and that's the easiest way. If I happen to pull over Peach because she was speeding or recklessly driving, it would be really unprofessional for me to walk up to her and be like, Peach, what the hell are you doing? Instead of like doing the professional, I'm Deputy Bell, can I please have your license and registration? Even though I know who she is, I still have to do the protocol of stating my name, getting their information, and talking to them professionally.
I would say that's both true and wrong in one way or another, because there is a benefit to having a rapport with the individual, and holy shit, but there is a small benefit of knowing who it is.
22, the last 15 calls that just came in.
We just had a unit call in to say 22 that, which means disregard.
Rob, one
but
car, 8 time.
But there is a warranting to having that sort of pseudo relationship with someone who you're pulling over. I wouldn't say talk to them like you said. It's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? But I would say that I've seen people do it in the past, and usually it gets a positive reaction. So while you still have to do your stuff, address yourself, you're still gonna get your ID, license, registration. Saying something that's like, "What are you doing?" You know, it's like, that this is a speed zone. You know that you're not supposed to be doing 80 here. That could actually be beneficial. So I wouldn't specifically say that scene is a outliner of that's specifically unprofessional. And you're gonna have to hop out. Just works easier that way. If you need food, now would be a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. This is gonna be great. A complete newbie. See, the reason why I was excited to be training her is because she said she was a complete noob, right?
They have none.
So what that means is she doesn't have any bad habits. What do you mean to have none?
It's completely out of stock.
Did you try buying it?
So does anyone know if auto exotic?
Even if it says, yeah, go try buy it, you'll be able to.
Okay.
But yeah, she doesn't have any bad habits. Hopefully.
They might respond.
All she has is thoughts of what she thinks it should be, which means we can really actually get some good training in. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. Am I good on food? 3 burgers. Ooh, I got a lot of evidence. Lots of evidence.
I'm going to be 10-6 vehicle repairs.
Okay, we'll pick up 15. Okay.
$126 back to Nate.
Let's draw $1,000. Oh, I'm making dope. Let's pick up 15 burgers. Some water. Alright, you can go head on back if you got your food. Alright. What were we talking about again? This is a see if she's paying attention thing.
Speech with a civilian at a traffic stop was what I came up with.
Yeah. Of that.
So the reason why I say that rapport is both a positive and negative is because depending on one who it's in front of, it can be viewed as favoritism if you don't give them a ticket and you have that rapport, and it could also be positive to getting good information and detecting lies from another person. If you know someone and you know them personally, you probably can detect their ticks, their what makes them tick, and if they're lying, you might have a little bit of better insight into what the hell's going on as well, which can make you a little bit more compassionate is a word. Because a lot of things that a lot of cops get hung up on, and a lot of people up and down the chain, it doesn't really matter who it is people sometimes forget that these people are people, and they'll just charge them because they did this, so they get charged with it. Recently just saw that with an officer, and I recently corrected it as well, which is, it's just like needlessly charging someone for something that they did, even though they have a history of it, isn't going to get that behavior to stop. Talking to them, saying stuff like, what the hell are you doing there? You know better. That level of, disappointment in them, that level of, I expect better, makes them want to be better. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that rapport can be helpful. Now, while it may seem to be professional from outside looking in, I would say that specific situation isn't the worst case. I will give you a case that is something that is very unprofessional. Let's say you know somebody, okay? You know somebody and they're on a traffic stop. Same scenario, but this time when you go up, since you know who this person is, you want to be an asshole because you don't like this person for whatever reason, and you know this person, for whatever reason. And you say, step in a vehicle, please. Second you come up there. Thanks for the sub, Zook. Appreciate it. So that kind of behavior there isn't only unprofessional, but it would be also unethical and possibly even a form of illegal, depending on why you got them out of the vehicle. So if let's say I pulled you over because I knew that I didn't like you, or I knew you were driving it, that would be illegal. That would be targeting, as a matter of fact, to get your badge taken away. So that would be something I would consider professional.
Also, you shouldn't cuff someone unless either, you're talking to them and you feel like it's best, hey, you're being detained right now, not only for your safety, but also for mine kind of ordeal, or if you actually are going to arrest them for something. Because sometimes you have to detain people just to question them in a scene, and just everyone's detained until we figure out what the fuck happened.
I'm going to address that in a second, but a big thing that just came up on my mind that you're going to learn from right here and now is when someone's traffic stopped, are they detained or not?
Yes, but not in cuffs.
Okay. So are legally, after you traffic stop someone, are they allowed to leave the scene while you're speaking to them?
ahead of a 1048.
They shouldn't leave the scene?
No,
Yeah,
legally,
well,
I
black
mean.
black
So,
mask.
are they
Oh.
legally allowed to leave the scene when you're talking to them on a traffic stop?
I have no idea.
It's fine. Not knowing is fine. The answer is anytime someone's on a traffic stop, they are detained. What detaining means is while it doesn't always mean that they're in cuffs, it means that they aren't allowed to leave the scene until you give them leave. Meaning, all right, ma'am, you're free to go. Wait until I get back in my car and turn off my lights. Then they're allowed to leave. Then they're no longer detained. If they say, ma'am, am I detained? And you say yes or no or whatever, and you say no, that means you just give them the authorization to leave. Because they're always detained on a traffic stop. Now, on to your point. You're completely right. We will detain people for officer safety. It happens all the time. If we have the inkling that this person's going to run, if we know that this person has a warrant, if we have any sort of feeling wrong about this person, we can detain them legally. It's like, hey, you know, I'm not really getting a good vibe from this person. Detain him. Because it's just better than, you know, getting a pursuit, you know? But I would say that there is no common practice that says we shouldn't always put someone in cuffs, because it's so situational.
Yeah, like, it's I feel like it's kind of one of those gray areas where it's like, do we have to, or are we okay?
There is no I'll try to get rid of this gray area for you, because there is no situation where you have to or you can't, you shouldn't. There is, it is literally based on what you're thinking at the time. So if I'm pulling over, let's say if I'm pulling over Billy Sanchez, right? And Billy Sanchez, I know that he's a known criminal, and he's giving me a weird vibe, right? He's, you know, he's around the area of a call. A few things aren't adding up. I loosely matched the description to someone. I would detain him on that, because I have a feeling, one, that he's possibly involved with a previous call. Two, he has a history of criminal activity, and at that point I'd be requesting a second unit as well, just to have that backup there. And three, I'd be trying to get him out of the vehicle so I can come to the conclusion of what he has in the vehicle, if I had probable cause to search his vehicle, and if I had probable cause to search him. Now, legally, we can do a Terry frisk, and I'll explain what a Terry frisk is if you don't know what it is in a moment. But I would say that for officer safety, it's completely situational. If you think that this person should be detained, if you have any weird vibe from the person, then just detain them if they're on a traffic stop. And even if they're walking out in public, you can detain them if you have reasonable suspicion that they're going to do a crime, did a crime, or fleeing from a crime. You understand what I'm saying? You got any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Do you know what a Terry frisk is?
Nope.
Okay, so Terry frisk is a cool little technique that we as law enforcement officers have. So it's a legal thing that both protects law enforcement officers and civilians. The Terry frisk is based on a case law from the U.S. Supreme Court, made in some year that I don't remember because I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to case law. But this case law is based off of something that happened that was wrong to a person, so they made this case law to prevent that happening again. Right? So a Terry frisk is basically you're going to do a full pat down of the outside of the clothing, and you're going to feel for specifically weapons. You're not going to enter the clothing. You are going to feel around it, and you're gonna see if you feel anything that would be considered an illegal item or a weapon. For example, if you have a weapon on your hip, it's concealed, right? And it's on your hip. You're on your right hip, and I'd be feeling around just the common storage areas, just feeling around clothing and stuff like that, and not entering your clothing. And I feel around your hips, then I will feel the weapon. And I was like, okay, I verified that something feels like a weapon, and I could reasonably say that it is a weapon. So I'm going to make the assumption and base it off the facts that I have, and from the feeling that I have, that's a hard metal object on the right hip, commonplace for weapons, that this is a weapon. I will enter the clothing and remove the weapon. For officer safety specifically. Now, does that mean I can charge off that? yes and no. It's scene dependent. So like, let's say you're after a drug interdiction, you feel something that's mushy and it feels like baggy and has like a plastic feel, and you can only press or touch. You can't just go and like squeeze the item till you know exactly what it is. It's literally just patting them down, right? But if I feel something that I reasonably suspect that is drugs, I can take that and I can use that against them, even if I didn't have probable cause to search a subject because I was doing a Terry frisk. Have any questions?
Okay, so my brain while you were talking about all that is this is just the fancy word of when a cop says I'm gonna pat you down for weapons.
Yes and no.
Kind of.
Because patting you down, while it means the same thing, I always say that for when I'm actually searching someone.
Oh.
So I would say that there's other people who do that as well. Hello, Peef. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe.
You see, I've only been in the city like 4 days prior. Like, I think it's now been a week that I've been in the city, and I literally applied to BCSO, interviewed, academy, this. Like, I've done nothing else.
Yeah.
So, like, I haven't really seen a lot of stuff other than ride-alongs, and until today, I didn't get out the car for ride-alongs because, one, I didn't have uniform, and two, it's not really safe for a civilian as a ride-along to get out with nothing to protect them.
Yeah, per SOP guidelines based around ride-alongs, you're actually not allowed to get out of the vehicle until you're specifically told by the officer. Usually it's their responsibility to let you know about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on Sandy proper, see if we can pick up anybody. But yeah, the whole Terry frisk thing isn't something that happens very often. It's like I'm only telling you about it because just so you have a basic understanding for when you will possibly come in a situation where you'll need it, and you'll have a basic understanding of what you need to do, which is just patting them down in your words. But it's actually a Terry frisk. Very sick, you think you got a COVID? Well, that's unfortunate. All right, so here's a big question, and this might be a little bit difficult for you. And if it's not, great. If it is, great. So we're going to do a pseudo traffic stop in this camper in front of us, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to, whatever you think is right, say what you think is right about this traffic stop, and I'll give you a prompt, okay? So the prompt is, we're pulling this vehicle over, this camper right here, and I'm going to see if I'm actually going to pull over. If not, I'll do this other vehicle up here. Yeah, because he doesn't want to pull over. So we're pulling over this Prius, right? The plate is 04 Ida Alpha Delta 366, okay? You don't need to use that, but I'm just keeping that in mind. And we're pulling the subject over for speeding, okay? And I'll tell you the street name where we can actually get him to stop. But we're on our street now, so whatever it says in the bottom, wherever you have it, that's the street name. And it might change if they decide to keep fucking driving away from me. But what I want you to do is I want you to say, I want you to call it a traffic stop over your voice once again, and tell me what you think is right for the traffic stop, okay?
10-6, 5 mics.
Like, what I would do is my radio call
Yes.
for it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna wait for it to turn so that way I have one road.
I'm actually going to make him sure he stopped as well, like this. So go ahead.
344 traffic on Joshua Road. Nearest post is 229.
Okay. Do you think you forgot anything there?
Probably did.
Well, do you think you forgot anything there?
No.
Okay. So what do you think is important about calling it a traffic stop over the radio? What do you think is the 3 or 2 or 1 most important things about pulling someone over and letting everybody on the radio know that you're on a traffic stop? What do you think is the most important thing?
Number 1, people know where you are, and so if you need somebody, they can come to you quickly.
Okay, so number 1 is location. Is there any other good ones that is very both useful and important to say over the radio? Aren't you vaccinated?
My mind just blanked.
Okay, that's fine. So, I'll repeat what you said
616,
back to
10,
you, and
40,
I'll see if you can
Center
pick up on
7. It's gonna be
anything.
a,
Okay.
Lost MC motorcycle.
344 on a traffic stop
Stand by.
at Joshua Road, nearest post 229.
Oh, I was questionable on that.
So there's a few things that I saw right there. So one, and this will go over time, so this is just a given. But you need to be confident in what you're saying, because if you question it, then I'm questioning it.
That's 100%
But that's
gonna be a time thing.
that's just gonna be a time thing.
gonna be occupied one
I understand
time,
exactly
black color with a,
what's going on
orange
there, so
short
you don't need to
sleeve.
worry about that. It's just time. Another thing, forgot the Frank again. It's gonna take some time again, but it's 344 Frank, and you didn't say the vehicle description, at least from my memory.
I did.
So here's how you're actually supposed to do it. 621, show me on a traffic stop with a black 4-door Prius, East Joshua Road, 229er.
Okay, so if I don't know exactly what kind of car it is, do I just say black 4-door?
Yep. Black 4-door sedan. It's a camper. It's a truck. It's a big truck. I don't even know if this is actually a Prius. I just assume it is because it looks like a garbage. But you don't need to know that truck up there is a Bison, right? Yeah, I could just come up to that truck on that road and say 621, show me a 1048 black 2-door truck. We'll be facing north if I want to include that, and nearest postal is 226. Okay.
Okay.
That's important. It's important that I would say that the most important thing is the location. Second most important thing is the vehicle description. And another thing you can add, this is completely up to you and depending on how you're doing your traffic stop, but you can say how many occupants there is. If I come up to a traffic stop and I say, I got a vehicle I'm pulling over here 4 times occupied, I'm probably going to want some more units. And I just realized I'm going the wrong way. But if there's 4 people in a vehicle on a traffic stop, I'm going to want more units there. I'm going to need backup. So I'm going to get another unit. Do you have any questions about the traffic stops?
No.
Okay. So I'll give you another scenario. Because the radio is... while it is pretty specific, you can also change it up a bit. So I'll try to say it a little bit different. Okay? 621, show me on a 1048 Sonora Freeway, or Sonora Road. We're going to be southbound. Nearest postal is going to be 373. It's a 2-door truck. Now, I added it at the end there because I just forgot it. But even that would be kind of fine. Because the thing is I didn't lose confidence in what I was saying. Right? I kind of just picked up the pieces as they were falling. There was issues. But the problem is I didn't say any ums. I didn't say any ahs, which is very, very important. And I wasn't second guessing myself. And that will go around in time, but the whole umming and ahhing thing, that is a problem that I don't want you to have develop. So from the start, I want you to see if you can try to prevent that. I'm not saying you've already said that, but that is a common problem amongst the newer people coming into the department.
Got it. And if I get confused, I'm that kind of person that when I mess up or something, I know right now it's completely a learning thing, so I'm not beating myself up about messing things up. But I am that person that will just beat myself up eternally until no end if I mess up a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to let it show, and I know, if I get stuck or I need help or confused, I know people who, any FTO is gonna be yeah, if you need help on this, just let me know and we'll run it over again. And I'm very happy that you guys are like that because I know some places they're not.
Yeah, I've heard of the horror stories. I'll tell you something that that has been taught into me when I was a wee little lad. When it comes to being a probationary, back a while back when I was in the Ottawa Police Department back in Canada. I was being taught by a man named Richardson. Now, Richardson is a man who is, I would say terrifying is a word, but he would command your respect. It's not something you want to. It's not someone you wanted to disappoint, and he's 100% not someone who will be light with you and pamper you, basically. Like, if you fuck
Why
up,
is
it's
this
like...
reminding me of Clarkson right now?
I would say Clarkson is a way nicer version than Richardson. But Mr. Richardson was my trainer, and I took a lot of things from him. And I'm going to tell you one thing, that while his methods were bad, his teachings were very good, and his mentality was very good. And that is, before you radio, think about what you're going to say before you say it on the radio. And what that means is, if I'm on a traffic stop, I'm sitting there for 30 seconds, waiting to think what I'm saying, that's fine, as long as you don't make your radio really long and mess up. Now, messing up is fine, but you know as much as I do, is you don't really want to mess up. It doesn't make you feel the best, and you want to be good, right? Yeah. You don't want anybody focusing on your radio traffic, and that's how people know if you're either good or bad or learning or not learning. Is it your radio traffic? Radio traffic is like our eyes in, because as you can see right now, I don't know what the people are doing in the city, right? I'm out here in Sandy, but I know how the radio traffic is, and I can correct it there. So, for example, when I go, and this is another Prius, right? While I'm driving up here and I haven't even initiated a traffic stop, I'm thinking about what my radio traffic is. It's like, okay, well, we're turning left now, so where are we? I look at my map. Oh, we're on Marina Drive, you know? And because I was looking at my map, I almost got in a car accident, but we're on Marina Drive now. It's like, okay, well, I know that I need to say I'm going to be on Marina Drive. What's our nearest postal? Well, right now it's 216 to 9, or 296. It's like, okay, well, you just merged over here. I just lit them up. 621, 1048, Algonquin Boulevard. And Algonquin Boulevard is also something that I need to think about, because my pronunciation of words is difficult for me. So I'm thinking about that as well. But I'm spending that time to think about what I'm going to say before I say it, right? And me just saying 621 attempt 1048 or attempting a traffic stop gives me that extra time, because everyone knows I'm attempting a traffic stop. Right? And that's something you can say. Is you're attempting traffic stop and you wait until final. Right? 621, 1048, advise final. Something as easy as that. Then when I stop, it's like, okay, well, this car's red. 621, show me on a 1048 Algonquin Boulevard, red two-door sports, red two-door sedan, you know? And I just thought about it. That's it. That's all. That's the biggest tip that I've ever gotten when I was coming to be coming up through the Ottawa Police Department was that.
610 third.
Got it.
So when we're going through these teachings, and I'm quizzing you on these things, so that's what I'm doing. I want you to, before you answer, I want you to actually just have a think about it and say what you're thinking in your head until you're confident enough to say it. Through you're confident enough to send those words from your brain through your mouth, because then you'll have a less chance of messing up, and then you can actually know what you're saying before you say it. Because if I say 1048 on this black two-door truck, I wasn't thinking about anything. I didn't say my street name. I didn't say plate. I didn't say occupants. There's a lot of things I didn't say. Half of those things I don't need to say, but still made a lot of mistakes because I wanted to think about it quickly. Right?
And it's perfectly fine, like, once I have someone pulled over, like, once we're pulled over, I make the call, even if, like, we pull over and I think for a second, then call it in, as long as, like, that person's not a flight risk.
Yeah, waiting is fine, If it turns into flight, it gets so much easier for you. 621, my pursuit is, or my 1048 is turning into a pursuit.
Back onto.
And even though I messed up there was just a quick remember, and then went back into it. And it was quick. You want things to be quick, you want to think about it, and you want to make sure everything's clear.
Got it.
And I want to go to actually, no, we already went to Grapeseed. I'll go down here.
Eastbound Del Perro, correct lanes of travel.
So a reminder, by the way, is if you do this properly, and if you're the type of person that can doesn't get any kind of sensory overload issues or any kind of like, oh my god, there's so many things coming to my brain, you're gonna get really good with being able to talk while the radio's going. The only reason I've asked you to turn off your radios because it's really easy to get confused here. That's why I asked you to turn your
Yeah.
radio off. But eventually you're going to get really good with, you know, being able to talk. Because right now there's a pursuit going on, and people are talking constantly, but I can still do this.
Yeah, no, earlier I was just like, I can't think and have, because I need to turn my radio down a little bit because it's louder than the people next to me.
Yeah. All right, give me a second. I just need to write this thing in this computer. Give me a second.
No problem.
Ask him why he's got
16, we
dirty
got-
panties in his trunk.
All right. So as we're going down I'm going on and explaining stuff. I am checking off through a list. And the thing is there's stuff that you've gotten wrong, and I still checked that off. Why do you think I did that?
Because we talked about it.
Yes, and I would say you've learned from it. Now, phase 1 specifically is a phase where, once again, I want you to make mistakes. Everybody's not the same. Some people will get you to drive on phase 1, which is fucking crazy, by the way, but some people do it. And some people will get you to answer it correctly or incorrectly. You do it incorrectly, they'll mark you an X, and they'll get you to redo phase 1. The thing here you have to realize, and this is I'm telling you this so you can understand how the FTO works, as you are very new, is the way that everybody does their training is a little bit different. Okay, I do it my way for my own reasons, and someone else does it their way for their own reasons. And some people just follow the guidelines set out in the FTO, right? But depending on who you have, they can be a good trainer, and they can be not very good. And while I don't know who these people are specifically, if you do have a bad experience, let me or someone else in the FTO program who is a supervisor, so and you just approach a sergeant and say, hey, I had a problem with this person. Or if it's a better sergeant, hey, I have a problem with this person, lieutenant. You would tell the lieutenant, you know, because it's important that when you're getting trained, it works for you. Because in my methods, while I think they're correct, they may not be the correct training for you. Maybe you're easier to retain information if you have failure involved. Maybe that's the way you like to be taught. I don't know.
Nope.
But I'm doing what I think is right. So if for any reason, and I'm just saying this just to make sure you're clear on this, for any reason, you know, there's something you don't understand, asking questions is always fine. But if you don't think that my methods are working, and you think it's like, well, I'm more like akin to this, I can link you up with someone else who I think would be a better fit. Just letting you know.
Yeah, no, and I think the reason why Jameson is jealous is because the way that you teach is how honestly is helping me, because I learn a lot through conversation and figuring it out that way, and then practicing. Mm-hmm. And if I fail while practicing, I'm gonna fail while practicing, and then I learn better in failure, but I learn better in failure of action and not failure of words. If that makes sense. It
kind of doesn't, but it's hard for me to understand certain things, so I'll get it eventually.
Well,
he'll come to me.
Cheval and I was doing a ride along with him, and he had me assist him on a traffic stop. Mm-hmm. I forgot. First thing I forgot was, and I introduced myself, but I didn't ask for license and registration first. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, now you know that's the first thing you need to do. And I was like, yep, I have now learned that mistake. Just like wearing seatbelts in cars, learned from a mistake.
Yeah, I don't actually ever wear a seatbelt because I don't really crash that often. Now, if I crash today, I'm gonna be mad at myself because I jinxed it. So I'm just gonna put my seatbelt on just because. But it's not a muscle memory right now to put my seatbelt on. But what I will say is,
I've learned very quickly seatbelts are important with people who drive faster than they should.
Is the owner coming to get the car or what?
What I will say is nothing against Shovel, because I think Shovel's a really good dude and he's also really knowledgeable, but that isn't a proper way to teach someone as you're getting thrown in a deep end. Because for you, as someone who really, like you said, you're completely new to this, you kind of need to be eased into it a little bit and kind of, you know, explain how this whole thing works. This whole machine, because it is a machine. A lot of people have spent a lot of time doing this, myself included, and we are very specific about how we like our law enforcement. If we don't like it, you know, we can some of us can get upset, and I've seen it happen. Friendships have been had and lost during over this whole whole police thing.
Yeah, and something that like makes sense, like they explained the phases to us and they said, okay, well in phase 1 you're just going to be doing ride along, and I was like, you know what, I'm fine with that because that gives me more time to just chill and figure things out.
Oh, we'll go over here, see if anyone's fishing.
I never knew where the fishing where to fish. Jesus.
Find water.
That's literally just find a body of water.
Yep, find water. Get some bait,
Dang.
find some water. I just like to check over to common areas because over the years I have attachments to these areas, and some of them used to be drug areas and not anymore, and you know, I just like to check them at a force of habit. I know that there's not going to be anybody there. I just do it anyway. That's a big thing about law enforcement.
People are trying to get money.
Well, yeah, people are trying to, you know, get that money, and that's why there's a lot of criminality happening right now. But like a big thing about law enforcement is there is this lull. You know, we are just waiting for a call. But in this case, I die for this lull because I want it. Because this is where the best training happens. Because a lot of people, a lot of FTOs believe that you need, even on phases 3 and 4, you need to be tested in the field, like on an actual call to get checked off into checkboxes. And that's where a lot of FTOs go wrong. So, for example, the expectation for a phase 2 probie to get a check on something would be, it's like, okay, probie, well, you're going to have to wait until you actually get a real traffic stop with a real civilian before I can check you off in this checkbox. A lot of FTOs, I would say 80% of FTOs are of the belief of that.
But what if you never find one?
That is the point. Some people don't find one. You know Jameson, you know why Jameson's mad? You want to know the specific details? He was on phases for like 2 months.
I was like, he told me he was in phases for months.
Yeah. So the reason why he was in it is a combination of, you know, not having an FTO who's dedicated to him, and also not getting the right opportunities to see and allow to get checked off on stuff. So even if, you know, even if he did the scenario thing that I have done with you so far, you know, where I was asking how to do the traffic stop stuff, I would mark him off or check on that, even on phase 4, which is the quote unquote the test phase, where you're supposed to be not talking and not doing anything, just watching and stuff like that. I think that's all just really, really bad, and it kind of locks everything up. So I would say that I do a lot of things that isn't written as if you should. So, like, right now it says specifically that I need to observe you for 4 hours, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to probably do it for 2 hours, depending on how long it takes, and probably be a little bit longer for you. So maybe we'll get the 4 hour mark. But I have to observe you for 4 hours, and for the checklist, the way it's written, you're supposed to be the one driving or getting quizzed, or you're supposed to be the one who is answering all these questions. You get it wrong, I press an X. That's the way it's supposed to work.
322, can we get a unit to that 911 call immediately, please?
Can we get another one as well? So do you understand what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, yeah, on that, it's just it's a hit and miss depending on FTLs. Every single FTL we have, heart's in a good place, and they all mean well, and they're all fucking great people. There's no one that I actually genuinely dislike in the department, any department, because if you eventually they'll realize about me is I don't have a bad bone in my body towards anybody in the department.
I got eyes on it.
Just because of who I am and how I was raised, but
Not just a description of 911 calls.
I feel like people could do it better.
Another unit behind me.
That's all.
Yeah, and sometimes, as we've said, you learn things from experience. So say like, I mean, Jameson right now is now a senior deputy. I think he just got promoted.
Yeah, because he takes lead on a lot of situations, and I remember voting on that and saying yes
Yeah.
because he holds himself to the standard that we expect. He is very active, which is a factor, not a big one, but it is a factor. And he's also he's just really good on scenes, and he's someone that we want to have on scenes, and we want to groom him to be a supervisor. Because that's another one of my responsibilities. Because when I'm not training, like people in the FTO program, people through all that, I'm training supervisors. So one of my duties, and the reason why I'm in state, and I don't know if you understand the whole thing about state, but it's an invite-only thing, and it's something that I've worked extremely hard to get into. But one of my main responsibilities as state is, and also just as someone who has a dedication to all departments and the future success of them, is I want to train people to be leaders to fill either my role in the future, leadership roles in the future, like chief, lieutenant, sergeant, stuff like that. So I focus on a number of projects and currently working on one right now, but where I'll see someone who has potential and I'll teach them everything I know, basically. I'll teach them everything. The mentality I have with that is I want them to be as good as I am, if not better.
That now explains why Clarkson at Academy was like, whoever gets this question right gets to go to state, gets to be a trooper. And I'm like, what if we don't want that? I didn't realize it was invite only. So
yeah, so
all the FTOs, like all the Academy trainers are like, we like her.
Yeah, the reason why they say that is because there's a lot of divide between state and then BCSO and LSPD, because state has the tendency to pick people who are the best, and that's the people they look for. And I'm not saying that I'm the best, but that's the people they look for. They have a criteria, so they'll go in and like sometimes they'll take supervisors from different departments, and they'll give a bad taste in people's mouths where it's like, well, you know, you kind of just like took that right from under us, you know. And that's why they said, well, we like her, is because there is that hint of distrust or dislike that you're taking like our best people, right?
I was just messing with Clarkson because I found it kind of funny at that moment.
Yeah, but it is a whole thing. Like the whole state thing is like a whole thing that a lot of people have the desire to get into, myself included at one point. But yeah, we can get back on topic. So we have checked off, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So we're going to check off a few other things, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty stuff just to make sure you're clear on it. So, and also, by the way, a lot of things that I'm asking you and we're having conversations about are not even written. The only reason I ask you about it is because I want you to have a more well-rounded, well-rounded thoughts on, you know, everything law enforcement, because I don't think that the phases like really meets the mark for that. So, like, if I ask you questions about probable cause, it's not written in our stuff. It's not saying, well, they have to know what probable cause is. If I teach you how to pit, which I will be doing on phase 2, and if you don't know what a pit, I can explain it.
I know what a pit is, and I know that Clarkson also gave a class on it the other night.
Yes, and I actually took a lot of things away from that. Genuinely.
I was already out of city at that point, but I believe there's a video somewhere.
That would be made by yours truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that video would assist you in completely understanding how it actually works. And that's something that I saw that, and I made it because something, if I'm learning something, that means I've never taught anybody else how that it actually works. So that means I have had there was a gap in my knowledge. So I went back and I filled that in. So now, anytime I go to teach someone, so right now, when I go to teach you how to do it properly, and I go and like we get in a car and I get you to pit me, I'll actually get you to do it properly, and I'll know specifically why in the past of why it didn't work. Understand?
Yeah.
So, do you know what probable cause is? Probable cause.
Why is it going blank? I knew this Saturday. Probable cause is the knowledge that is that probable cause or probable suspicion? I'm thinking, or
There's two things. There's reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Which one do you know?
Tell me what the hell to do here.
my brain right now is going with
What's the question?
a crime has been,
he's not
is,
stepping
or
out,
will be
and this wasn't in my
committed, and
training.
that's why you're pulling someone over, or that's why you're detaining them, and I don't remember which one that is.
I've mentioned that once during
here.
during this whole thing.
But I knew it
during this phase.
beforehand.
Well, yeah, but now you should remember it more. But it's fine that you don't, because once again, making mistakes easier to retain information.
Yeah.
So,
Tell him we're gonna
probable
take him out
cause.
by force if he doesn't.
So here I'm gonna give you a situation, and I'm actually gonna turn off my radio too, so I can actually explain this. We're gonna
Okay.
go over here.
My brain just remembered. So the probable cause thing we were talking about earlier is whenever you were,
She's talking about reasonable suspicion.
I can't think of the name of the thing, but in my
It's
words
reasonable
was
suspicion. That's what you're thinking about.
yeah, but the probable cause thing that we were talking about earlier was whenever like the patting down, that I don't know the words that you said because my memory sucks. And like if you felt the baggie on someone, then you have probable cause to take it.
Yes. So that is something you can get. So that's how you do your jump off point. So you have reasonable suspicion that they have, will, or are running from the crime. You have reasonable suspicion that they've done one of those three things. So you, on that reasonable suspicion, you act and you do your Terry frisk. And then after you feel a weapon, you will have probable cause to take it. And it moves on from there. So just to make it clear, reasonable suspicion is when someone has done something you're not entirely sure, but you think they've done
I'm
something.
gonna try to move to get him out.
That would be reason. You have
I'll break a
reasonable
window
suspicion.
with,
So it's reasonable
knife, so you guys
suspicion,
are gonna have to
meaning
cover me on
that
lethal. That's the only way that
you
we can really
reasonably
do it.
believe that this actually
Okay,
happened,
I got
right?
you. You're gonna have to.
Okay.
And reasonable suspicion often leads to probable cause. Sometimes it doesn't, but probable cause can be gained from another whole situation, which is, let's say, for example, and I'll use this place because this place is actually you cannot enter it. Let's say we behind those that barrier over there, you see that stop sign? We saw someone running around. At the very least, that would be reasonable suspicion on a trespassing violation, and even probable cause on a trespassing violation, because the whole Fort Zancudo area, which is where we're on the footsteps of, is a government / military facility that you're not allowed to enter. So if you're in there, and let's say there was a report of trespassing, or let's say we're patrolling and we saw someone walking around suspiciously, walking around with some kind of weapon or whatever, and they weren't in military gear, then we could at least go talk to them. And in this case, we don't have military police because that's more their jurisdiction. But in this world here, it would be our responsibility to handle it. So that would be at the very least reasonable suspicion that they have, will, or have attempted to attempt a crime. But more realistically, it's probable cause because you're watching them commit a crime. That's the difference. You see someone shoot someone, is it a reasonable suspicion to make an arrest, or is it probable cause to make an arrest?
Probable cause.
Yeah. Because you have cause, as you witnessed it, and you saw it, you know that that's the person who did it, that would be probable cause to make an arrest. Can you make an arrest off of reasonable suspicion? Alone.
No.
Exactly. Because reasonable suspicion alone won't get you it because they could be just wrong place, wrong time. You need more evidence. So if there was a
But
shooting,
reasonable suspicion can lead to an investigation.
yes, and that's what I was going to get into here. Is if there was a shooting, and you did the Terry frisk with your reasonable suspicion, you found a weapon, you tested that weapon, or the weapon was hot, that would possibly lead to a further questioning of when was the last time you shot your weapon? Why are you around here? Where are you heading? Where's your vehicle? You have anybody to say you were at a gun range last night? Why do you have GSR in your hand? GSR, gunshot residue. All these things, all those leading questions leads to another. And then eventually either you won't or you will get reasonable or probable cause to make an arrest. Because they either admitted to something or tripped up on something, or you understood the situation and you knew that they were lying. And it gets into a whole thing.
Got it.
I need to give some actual time to that because that's a very both important topic and also can be very confusing.
5-7, the kidnapping is going to be secured. An individual is, one officer is in pursuit of the individual in the water.
CO2 now, A1 looks 20.
Be off of the beach.
All right, we got a lot of things happening down the city.
We're going to be north of the yacht.
I was
Everyone's
about
up
to
and
say,
everything.
it seemed
Like
like
they're blowing
things
up.
calmed down, but it's just 911 calls calmed down.
Yeah, there's a kidnapping right
Go
now
towards the yacht.
that I think is code for. I think they might be on a boat chase or something. I don't know.
I'm half a minute out.
Oh my god, hold on.
Pick us up on, pick me up on the beach before you head out, so that way I can co-pilot with you.
Yeah, it
We still
definitely
headed
looks
towards
like
the
there's
yacht?
people on water.
Hey, for
Yeah, we're gonna get in a position so we can do some recon while we're waiting, because they might come up near us. I want to be able to assist in some way, but we also might be over our maximum of cops that can be on this call. So probably won't help other than saying, "Hey, he's here." Even then, it might be too much.
Okay,
But
so
go ahead.
maximum units on certain calls. Like, I know for Academy, we talked about like a felony stop. They want like 2 to 3 units would be nice to have there.
Yep.
Everyone's got
But
eyes.
for like just like right now, this kidnapping
Landing
thing.
in the water.
How many units are allowed?
In any call, there is a maximum unit count
I'm gonna get to
in
the yacht
any
first,
call
cut 'em off.
to 8. It's call specific where it gets stuff. So for a traffic stop, 2 cars, I wouldn't say maximum, but 2 cars are basically the granted thing. Okay, and if there's like a 3rd unit there, it's not too bad, but they have to have a reason of why they're showing up, right? When it comes to officers down, 8 cops. When it's coming to kidnapping scenes, we can go over depending on, you know, if we need to, we can go over the 4 limit, because that's like the soft limit where we set for ourselves, because we don't want to have all our resources in one area. But yeah, it's like the watch commander will let you know. And once again, I'll explain watch commander at a different time. That's not information you need to think about right now.
He's right off the north side. He's headed to your left.
But what I was going to say,
Right.
and I forgot. Well,
Whatever.
I don't
Down
remember
the
what I was
side,
going to
this
say,
side of
so
the
I'll just
boat.
move on.
He's midway down the backside.
Sorry.
That's fine. So what I will say is, speaking about felony stops and jogging your memory there, what is the proper formation for a felony stop?
Gonna be getting up on the on
So
the back.
you have the first car
Subject's armed.
at, like,
Remember, he's got a gun.
a 60-degree angle behind the car,
Side, Jenkins, other side,
and
other
then the
side, other
second
side.
car
He's behind
coming
you.
in to
Gun,
complete
gun,
the
gun, gun.
angle from the opposite side to form like a triangle.
Like a triangle. So is that with 2 units forming a triangle?
Yes.
Subject down.
Okay. And where would your third unit go? The base of the triangle, by the way.
I believe they said a third unit can be behind the first 2 units, or it can be across the street or something from the other 2 units, just making sure that they're at a point where they will not crossfire.
Okay, so here, I know what you're talking about, and you just got a little bit, you're misremembering it a bit. Here's the thing. You're correct on the
That's
V
what happened.
formation, but here's how it actually is. So the car's in front of us to our, I don't know, it's just right off the passenger side. So this is right in front of us. So here's the right side of the V, right? So here it is. It could be like this. You got your door open. You're doing the whole thing. Okay, so just imagine that this car's here, right? Your other car is going to be like tip to tip, and it's going to be like this. Okay, so that's your V. So that's your 2 units. On a felony stop, you really want 3 units, or 4, really. But 3 units is your sweet spot. Where you want your 3rd unit is at the base of the triangle formation.
Sarah, is that
Okay, because
individual
that's what
that
makes it a
the
triangle. It goes from a V to a triangle, and this is where the
Yeah,
other
he's-
unit
he's
goes.
fine.
So he's
He
got
had
the V
a
right in front of
firearm
him,
on
and then
but he was
we
unloaded
change it
and
to
no
a
weapons
V
on him.
formation. And the 4th unit goes up the street, like way over there. So he's like way over here, and he's covering from here. You understand?
Got it. Yeah.
You want me to hold
Yeah.
on to him, or
So make sure that you're not the one who does a V formation like a double V, like it's like a fucked up W. Like, don't do it like that. I've seen someone do it like that before, and I corrected
it would be
them, but
really hard to get out of that.
yeah, it was strange. But all it took is a small correction, and then they were good. So once again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is always positive, unless you risk someone's life or cause death, then it's not really positive.
Resend.
do you want me to hold on to the kidnappee?
So like making mistakes in the practice stuff, good. Making mistakes like, hey, I accidentally just shot a dude, no, you're not gonna get away with that, depending. So that leads me into my point of a question. And this is important because you could have a misunderstanding of this. And that is, if there is a fleeing felon, he has a weapon, he had just fired at officers, downing 1, right? Let's say it's your friend or whatever. And let's say they're fleeing and doing the whole thing, and they turn around and they are running away, they are still armed. Are you allowed, per the law of your current understanding, to shoot them in the back?
Yes.
Why?
Because they are, hold on, jogging memory, because it is worse for them to keep running out and causing more harm to others than us getting him down and off of the street, I think.
Can you repeat that one more time? Because I think that was the other side of the coin that I was looking for. Can you repeat that?
That it's best to get him off the street instead of shooting others, so getting him off the street would be better. Not necessarily shooting to, like, I wouldn't be the person unless told to be completely lethal and shoot to actually shoot. Like earlier I was told to shoot and then realized I never loaded my gun.
Okay, so there's a few things that I need to address, and it's very important that
Yeah,
you
like
understand
I don't
this.
understand, because earlier it was like shots fired, okay, shoot him down, and I'm like, wait, what?
So there are 3 things, and unfortunately everything you said is wrong, which is fine. But just to be clear,
I figured it was all gonna be wrong.
just to be clear, everything you said is wrong, and it's really weird on why it's wrong. Okay, first thing, shooting to kill. We shoot to stop the threat. That is actual protocol that we do. Shoot to stop the threat. If there's a threat, you shoot it until it's no longer a threat. If you have lethal force, I'll get into lethal force some other day. Maybe I'll get into it today, but for right now, it's just the basics. And the basics of, well, lethal force is somewhat tied into this. I don't think it's critical to what I'm saying, and that is if you can shoot someone in the back or not. So, per the quote-unquote OOC guidelines in the main world that we all know and love, the fleeing felon case law is an actual thing, and it's stuff that officers use every day in the main world, right? In here, it's not. The reason for that is complex and weird, but what I will say is there is no situation where you're actually allowed to shoot fleeing subject in the back. Unless they're actively shooting, which means you won't shoot them in the back. So what this means, and I'll give you a scenario to really like nail home the point, and that is, hey, I just got shot at. This dude is actively shooting at me. I now have lethal force. I'm going to eliminate the threat. I wouldn't use eliminate. I'm just using that for you to understand.
Yeah.
But stop the threat. Threat needs to be stopped. That is your objective. Whenever you're going lethal, your objective is to stop the threat from happening, for continuing to be a threat. That is your goal. If they turn around, they're not a threat.
So then, are we allowed to shoot at tires to stop the fleeing?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That was
that is a specific SOP guideline that I will recommend you go back to the SOP, your BCSO SOP, and just have a read through. There's an off chance that
I haven't completely read through it all. That's why I was just like, wait.
There's an off chance that there is a possibility that it's not there. Because I don't know both SOPs through and through, because I have to keep up to date with all 3 SOPs, so it's kind of difficult. But I would say there's a pretty good chance that it's there, and if it's not, this is why I'm here, so to make sure that you know that. There is no situation where you're ever going to shoot to maim or slow or hinder a subject or vehicle unless there's a situation that specifically calls for it. And I'll list that single situation because there's only one situation, and that is there is a transport truck burling down the highway and you need to disable the vehicle and you're trying to defend life, right? And instead of shooting the driver where he gets stuck on the gas, you disable the vehicle. That would be a specific time where I would say shooting the tires is fine, shooting the engine is fine. In every other situation, the subject has just run off a traffic stop. This subject is fleeing from law enforcement for no reason. This subject's an idiot. Whatever. You can never, ever should be shooting at the tires, because when you shoot your weapon, lethal force has to be also authorized. And I guess I'm gonna have to get into lethal force, but lethal force has to be authorized. Okay, you have to have your reason of why you're doing lethal. And when you're shooting your weapons, you're shooting to stop a threat. If there's no threat, you shouldn't be shooting. Okay?
Okay. And then I do know lethal force.
Okay. Explain to me your understanding of lethal force.
So lethal force is, say the subject has a gun and is shooting. Well, he's using lethal force, so we match that force. Or we match it to the best of our ability, so that way, like, we're not completely overpowering someone. Like, if someone's just running no weapon, I wouldn't pull my gun on them.
What if they just had a gun? Like, had a gun and dropped it?
Are they actively using the gun?
No.
Then I still would not pull my gun on them, because that would be overpowering.
I think the word you're looking for is excessive, and in that situation, lethal cover is almost always necessary depending on what the arrest is, because you don't know if they can pull something, and you want someone to cover your back just in case. Because it takes time to pull a weapon for both parties. So I would say that while I understand where your thought process is going, and you're trying to think it for fairness maybe, or maybe just like you think there's a policy or whatever, regardless of what your thought process is, lethal cover is important. Because you want to make sure that the person's covered when you're making an arrest, and in this case, you're probably not going to be the only one, right? One of them you're going to have non-lethal, one of you is going to have lethal.
Can you head down to the 911 call referencing
the way that I understood from Academy, they didn't go over lethal cover, I don't think.
You're the only
they just talked about, like, if Riley was the one that was the, like, person as the subject, and they were like, okay, well, if Riley is on the street, you don't see a gun on her, and she did something illegal, would you pull your gun out on her? And we're like,
yeah,
no.
the answer is no. Yeah. But if it's a case by case basis, because the situation that you listed was the subject was fleeing, and then I corrected, or I added another variable to that situation where subject just dropped a gun, you still answered as you wouldn't have lethal cover, right? But in that case, you should have lethal cover, because it's just cover, right? That's fine. But say it again. What is your past what we just talked about? What is your understanding of why we get authorized for lethal force, or how you get authorized, or what will authorize you for lethal?
Authorization for lethal force is whenever. Nope, my brain. Nope. I just got very confused. Hold on.
322, I'll be on scene the 911 call.
My brain is mushing too many things together, and it's not making any sense right now.
It's because you're taking on a lot of information. That's fine.
Yeah.
Instead of you know, me asking you another question and keep on going, let's just sit for a few minutes. You know, take a sip of the water you got at the shop. You know, just think about all the things that we've talked about, and then I'll ask you the question again in a few minutes. Okay.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm just gonna drink water and save my vocal cords that are slowly dying because I talk a lot. I think she has a lot of potential here, ladies and gentlemen. I really like her attitude towards the training. This is a perfect situation for where I'm at right now because it allows me to teach
322, I'll be clear
the person the way I want to teach, and also they're not influenced by any negative or any law enforcement stuff because they don't understand it. So I think we can have a real basis here, and I think this is a person who's actually going to make a lot of mistakes, and in turn is going to be really good. Depending on if they have the will to stick with it after messing up. Because like she said that she tends to beat herself up over and over after making a mistake.
Negative, he's not talking.
So you gotta keep in mind of that, right? Because if someone's making a mistake and they're beating themselves up, you want to make sure you discourage that behavior.
Hey, don't you come into the helicopter?
So right now, I would say that I have given her a lot of information, but also the whole time like it's been everywhere. It's just been common conversation. We're talking about, you know, the way I do the stuff that I do. We've been talking about that a lot.
Eagle 1 and
So maybe I'm doing it a little bit too quick here. So we're gonna try to slow it down. That's why I'm giving her a minute here to kind of just think about everything we said, and you know, just take a breather, you know. Because it's not like this needs to be training the whole time. 621, 1017 on a 911 call. Referencing someone getting hit. Alright, we'll see if this call can get you back on the path.
Well, I'm sitting here in my brain, like, figuring out. My problem is, like, I can figure out in my brain what it is, but actually putting words out, words are hard.
Yes, that's why you're supposed to, or that's why I want you to start thinking about what you're going to say before you say it, and actually think about it and saying it in your head over and over and over until you say it properly.
Back that. There's gonna be a lot of people there.
Yeah, I'm about a mile out. You might be there before I am.
I'll be en route for mission route.
Eagle 1 en route to MRPD.
Do you know what I just did there?
I'm arriving at
What am I doing right now? What's the word for it? When I go through these intersections, what am I doing?
I don't remember.
I'm clearing my intersection.
Okay.
322 will be arriving on scene here.
621 on same traffic. Yeah, we got a subject down the road. Oh, 2 subjects. Alright, you can step out when we get stopped. Jiggins, I only got 1 med kit left, so I hope you got one over there.
10-4.
don't have a med kit on me.
Yeah, I got one. Sir, can you hear me?
My fucking leggies.
Eagle 1
What's wrong
now,
with your
going
leggies?
at 302.
I got
Shield
hit
back
by
available.
car.
You deserve that, DJ, you dick.
Don't say that to my man.
Piece of
Fuck
shit.
you, Kevin.
Can I get a description on the vehicle, please?
Don't make fun of me, but I think it was a local.
You think it was a local, yeah?
It was one of those, like the Mini Coopers.
You got hit by a Mini Cooper. Yeah.
Stop it, guys.
Listen,
I'm emotionally and physically down. Okay, please.
I wouldn't even say physically. You're not looking too bad here, my man.
Do anything noteworthy?
I'm just gonna set you up. No, I'll help him up. Unless you do you have more than one med kit?
Yeah, I got 2.
All right, you help him up so I can save my one,
He's not worth.
and then the next person I'll be able to help up.
GSR kit
I have 10 med kits.
test on him.
Oh, you're
Or
balling
9,
I
over
know
there.
for sure that he brandished it towards me and Jiggins.
How much are medkits worth?
I don't know. I don't pay for them.
Sure, you guys don't pay for any.
Fuck you, Buzz.
Alright, yeah, we don't pay for anything. Fuck cops, right? Yeah, fuck cops, bro.
Fuck
Well, well, that's just rude. Are you all right, my man?
He don't look alright.
My leg ain't feeling that bright.
Yeah, I mean to bring you over to the hospital.
Yes, please. I'd appreciate that very much.
All right, follow me.
Bye, DJ.
Bye-bye.
Just watch the traffic. 621. I'll be transporting one-time subject, pillbox.
It stopped.
Say again?
Thank God.
Come on.
My hero.
All right, hop in.
Oh, very spacious back here. Officer, these lost MC guys are trying to hurt me.
Yeah. So,
No, I'm just kidding. They're cool.
Miss Bell, do you know why we clear our intersections? Why is it important?
To notify the public that you are passing through, and also hopefully not get rammed.
Yep, that
Good
is
job.
specifically why. Good job, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Mr. DG, I assume that you can walk in yourself, yeah, and check yourself in.
Yeah, I should be fine.
All right.
Thank you guys. Have a good night. Stay safe.
You too.
Bye.
621. Show me 10-8. Back 10-8. All right. Okay. So I'll ask you once again now that you've maybe collected your thoughts, and if not, it's fine. I'll give you the information that I'm looking for anyway. Lethal force. Give me your understanding of lethal force.
Okay, so lethal force is authorized for use when a subject is or was using another lethal
Was is not
force.
correct.
Like if they had a gun, you have lethal force or lethal coverage on yourself.
Okay. You say
what
was.
Like in the example of like they had a gun and they dropped it.
And what you said that after they dropped it, lethal force would still be authorized?
Lethal coverage is authorized.
Okay. But lethal force wouldn't be authorized, right? Say yes, please. Come on, you got
What?
this.
I thought I understood
No,
this. No.
hold on. It's just a yes or no question.
No.
There you go. Yes, no is the answer. Good job. So the reason why no is the answer is because they dropped the gun. They are no longer a threat. Remember when I said that? They were no longer a threat, so there's no reason to have lethal force.
And our job at that point is to stop.
Thank you for the follow, joke. Appreciate it.
7.
Yes, our job is to stop the threat if there is one. And if there isn't, we're going to hold cover on them. So while there isn't a criteria to where you need to have a set criteria of, hey, this is when I can use lethal coverage, this is where I can't, it's more common sense than anything. So like you wouldn't come up to a traffic stop and hold a gun to this man's face and asking him questions. Right? But you would if you're on a felony stop.
Yeah, felony stop, yes. Normal traffic stop, no. But if they start fumbling in their pockets, yes.
Well, at that point, it
If
could
they
be...
fumble in their pockets and, like, pull a gun, yeah.
Yeah, anytime they pull a gun, your gun comes out, right? But if they're going in their pockets to find their ID, they're going in their glove box to find their ID. Holster retention is good. Holster retention is just a basic term of hand on gun. That's it. It's really basic.
Hey, I have
hand on
my
gun.
hand on my gun, just letting you know I'm prepared if you try.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that to them. Just they'll see it. And
No,
there's
that's,
actually
like, the thought process of
yes,
it.
yes. And there's actually a little emote you can do. It's /E space reaching.
Oh.
Yeah, looks really cool too. So definitely use that on your next traffic stop if you're getting some weird vibes, because that's just showing that you're ready, and it'll make them think twice, right?
Yep. Okay.
So I want to bring up something that isn't really something that you will be taught, but it's something that I want to teach you just to make sure that you turn out to be, at the very least, an all-right cop. And that is something around leniency. So, in your mind, when I say something around leniency, what do you think I'm trying to refer to here? Like, why do you think I'm talking about leniency right now? It doesn't have to be right. It's just your thoughts.
I mean, going off of an earlier conversation of like pulling someone over for like 5 miles over the speed limit, like
There you go.
don't be a dick. Just say, hey, slow it down next
Let
time.
criminals walk away with 7 bricks on them. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
not issuing a ticket for every little thing.
Yeah. I'm glad you remember that. Because leniency is important to, 1, your survival, and 2, your likeness. You see the way the other sergeant was acting around everybody?
Jiggins?
Yeah. You see the way he was communicating with everybody?
Kinda. Not really. My ears weren't working that great at that second.
Okay. The way he was communicating wasn't the best, I will phrase it as. It wasn't, the peak communication that is very positive that I expect from a sergeant, right? So the way he was communicating, in my mind, wasn't the best. And the way I was communicating, while I don't think I was communicating the best, the response I was getting from the civilians was a lot better than the response he was thinking that he was getting from the civilians. So, for example, let's say we went up there, right? There's 2 people going on holy shit, that's bright. But there's 2 people who come up towards a traffic stop, and they're like, I'll do this better so it's a better analogy here. Let's say there's 2 separate traffic stops going on at the exact same time. They're both getting pulled over for the same reason. One person is nice guy number 1, and the second person is not very nice guy number 2. Okay? Who's going to get the better reaction from the criminal, in this case, who actually broke the law here, when they're talking about asking them to get out of the vehicle? Is it going to be the nice cop, or is it going to be the mean cop?
The nice one.
Yeah. The reason why the nice cop is called the nice cop is because he's been lenient in the past. Something I want you to remember from this conversation, and hopefully bring it on to when you become a full officer, or deputy in this case, is leniency is king, and leniency is how you survive, and being lenient is really important. Because when you're lenient, like I've been, I get all the time, I never get negative interactions from anybody, ever. Right? Like, even my most hated criminals aren't even that bad. And this local's right in my butt. But it's because I've been very lenient with people. Now, does that mean I'm cutting them a break every time I get a chance? No, absolutely not. But I'm giving them opportunities to correct their actions. And I'm going to give an example here. So, on that scene, for one, there was no negative conversations towards me. And I didn't put any negative conversation towards anybody else. We were laughing, we're joking with the person who was downed, and we're fixing them up, right? And you know where he left? He said, "Have a nice day." Do you think, because in my opinion, Jiggins didn't handle that properly, do you think that if that was Jiggins, would the response be the same? Of, "Hey, have a nice day," and it'll go back and forth, you know? Or would it be "thanks" kind of thing? Because I think it would have been
like
thanks.
It probably went just like a "thanks, bye."
Yeah, because that's the way the vibe I got from the interaction. Now, the reason why, I get the vibe that I get from the civilians is because I will let a lot of civilians off with stuff that other cops won't. And also, even if, and this is an important tip here, and also an important topic, and even if this person is being the biggest asshole ever to live, the criminals being the biggest dick, I will still be lenient with them. And I'll still cut them breaks. And I'll still say, "Hey, you've been here for a while in the cell, so I'm going to remove 10 months and I'll have to fine, all right?" And I'll do that constantly. And some cops, and this is something that is an active problem in the department, where some cops, if they are upset at the person, they will take it up on them by charging them more. Do you think that is right?
No.
No, why isn't it right?
One, that's kind of like fraud. You're taking money that you're not supposed to.
Well, technically in this case, they did break the law. It's just you're being an asshole by charging it.
I would say, if you're charging them more, then that's not following guidelines of, like, the fine is this much. And if you charge them more just because you want to be a dick, then, like...
Well, that specific situation that you're bringing up, which isn't what I'm talking about, that would be corruption.
Yeah,
but what I'm referring to is someone just throwing the book at someone for no reason. And by throwing the book, I mean charging them for every law under the sun. So let's say we just arrested this person in front of us for reckless driving, flight, possession of a weapon without a license, or possession of a Class 1 weapon, which is an illegal weapon, and then possession of a weapon with a license, and then running stoplights, and we added like 6 of them. Like, that is excessive, and that what would be called, I would say, throwing the book at them. But if I came up to this guy and I said, "Hey, you did all this, but since you complied in this specific situation, or since you've been here for X amount, I'm just gonna remove this time from you, and we can have a little conversation about how I can get these fines lowered for you," right? That attitude is gonna work wonders for your career and your relationships with the public. Because while, promotions are important and your relationships with other officers are important, your relationship with the public is also just as important.
Yeah, because if your relationship with the public is bad, then they can just be like, "Yeah, no, we don't feel like this person's helping us, they're just hurting us."
Yes. Yeah, you want to work with these people, so then when they decide that they're going to snap, right, it's not going to be because of you. And for me specifically, it's something that I take a lot of pride in, because once again, like there's a very, like, I would say I could probably count the amount of people that dislike me in one way or another on 2 fingers, and that's it. And that's just from my perspective. Obviously, it could be more or less depending on, people saying stuff behind my back. But when it comes to face, people are usually always kind, especially civilians, because I'm lenient. So when I ask a civilian, step out of the car, they don't run away. Sometimes they will, but in some cases, depending on who the civilian is, they're like, "Well, this man's been really nice in the past. Maybe he'll cut me a break here." So, yes, I'll step out of the vehicle. Mason Morgan, case number 1. So what I want you to do, because this will lead me into my next point, I'm going to start checking off some more things. What I want you to do is I want you to type in /MDT. And then go up and search criminals and type in Mason space MORGAN, and then find his name after you press enter. Once you're there, you can look at you can click charges, and then find anything that has my name on it. Jeremy Crane.
There's 1.
Should be more than that. But click into it. What does it say?
Possession of CDS with a firearm.
So this leads me to my next point. And I can get into a scene if you'd like, but reports. This is something you probably weren't told about, but this, what you're looking at right now, is a unfortunate part of the job. Now, I say unfortunate without much meaning behind it because I love reports, but it could be unfortunate from a standpoint of this is really annoying or this is really tedious. But it's important because we have a whole quote-unquote RP section that deals with just this. And that's the DOJ. So they rely on these reports. So that's why my reports are this big. So when you're reading through this, and I'm gonna like explain into reports and get into it, but this whole thing around the reports, that is a very important topic that I am at the forefront of when it comes to in the department stuff. So I will always be talking about it. But I just want you to take a few moments, read through it, skim through it, whatever way you want to consume that knowledge, and just like look at the way it's formatted, look at the way it's typed, look at it. You can see how much time I spent on it, right?
Yep.
Now, while it is pretty long, I probably only spent around 15 minutes on it, to be honest. But that is just a whole reminder of what happened on scene. So before I go in and explain why it's a report important, how you do it properly, do you have any questions about reports?
Is there some kind of like, I don't know, template or something somewhere that you guys use?
Yes. It was a template made by a previous officer who's no longer within the department, and it's a template that I have access to. No. It's something that I DM to people personally nowadays. I can send it you in a moment.
And I did read, like, you put that you removed charges because he was very compliant and stuff.
I actually didn't remember I did that, but I'm glad that's there.
You have it written.
Yeah, I'll always write that stuff. So in your DMs now, you will see 3 things, like 3 templates. An example template of a report I wrote for a Department of Justice case that is ongoing. That's the reason why it's like really big. And I also included some evidence, like some actual evidence, which you can watch and you can go and see. And see how I went and jumped to the conclusions. You can do that in your own time. I'm not asking you to go and read all that. But that probably took me about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to write. If you scroll down to the bottom, you see my big paragraph stuff. But yeah, you can close it to that now, and I can start explaining why reports are important, firstly, and how to really write good reports. And it's really easy. So I'll give you in a moment.
No, I'm good. I just, I have a tablet next to me that I was messing with whenever you sent things over, so I was like, wait, too many things.
Yeah.
So, I'm good.
So, reports are easy. All you need to remember is use a template and follow the template. That's it. But also, another thing is that you need to you need to remember of the stuff that happened on scene, and you just need to write what happened. That's it. So, for example, if we were going to write a report about the scene we were just at, okay, let's say for some reason we arrested DJ. And this is recalling from memory. I'm just going to tell you how I would do it right now. I'm going to say, well, at this time or a bit ago, I received a 911 call at the Auto Exotics about someone getting downed. It was an unconscious citizen. Myself and Sergeant Jiggins responded. We both arrived on scene around the same time. Myself, Jiggins, his probie, and my probie were all present, and we saw the subject down on the road. We rendered aid immediately to the subject, asked him what happened, figured out it wasn't too bad. but it was a hit and run. Subject was all good. Give us a description, and that's the point. I'm saying stuff that isn't actually factual, but we wouldn't make an arrest off of what he said anyway. But let's just say, for some reason, he gave us a description, we acted on it, and then I would go into detail how I actually made the arrest. So even if, let's say that local that he was run over, like, let's say it was an actual person, and we went, got the information, and, 3 days later, we went and formulated arrest, I would still include the stuff that I had a conversation with him. Why is that important, in your opinion? If it is important, in your opinion.
I feel like it is important. Like, it's important to include things that this person has done in the past in current reports if there wasn't one, because if there's a trend in their activities, that's the word I was looking for. If there's a trend, then you can like talk to them and be like, hey, look, let's figure this out, let's make this better and try to stop. Like, maybe they didn't, if they did run over DJ and they didn't see him, that could have been an issue. But if they're constantly running over DJ, then they have like something wrong with DJ.
So what's the and just to sell this point home for you, what's the better report? If I just arrested, let's say I arrested a Kevin guy, right? Let's say that it was a Kevin guy. If I had just arrested a Kevin and I said, well, I arrested him because he was involved with a hit and run on DJ, and that's it. That's all my reports, one sentence. Or, like, that was report 1, or report 2, I said what I just said about the, like, fake report, about everything that led up to that, and then I also included what led up to as an arrest. Which one is better, 1 or 2?
2.
Yeah, 100%. No brainer, right? It just makes sense. Like, why would you ever leave that out? The only reason you're ever going to leave that out is if you're corrupt. Because you don't want people to come off of you, or you're scared of doing the wrong thing. But the thing is that in one way is illegal, and in another is unethical, and a third, it just makes you look worse. Like, the thing is if I do something bad, 1, I'm gonna own it, and 2, I'm gonna fucking learn from that shit real quick. Right? Because I'm not someone who really likes to make mistakes, and when I do, I take this stuff really seriously. Once again.
And during phases, we do go through, like, writing up reports and, like, you guys reading over it, making sure it's all good beforehand, right?
Absolutely. We will be doing that. That's why I'm explaining to you now. Okay. We won't be doing it on this phase. We'll probably do it phase 3, phase 2. But the reason why I'm telling you to hear now is because that's one of the things that I need to check off, is you have an understanding of it. And I would say that you do, so I'm just going to check that off. So now we're gonna speed this stuff up a bit, and tell me if I'm going too fast for you, because I'm fine with slowing this stuff down, but I also don't want your phases to take anywhere past 2 weeks. Like, I just that's the number I have in my head of how long I want to take it to, like, how long I want it to take. Might take longer since you're super new and you don't know anything, which is perfect for me, by the way.
This is also a new thing for you. You get to learn how to teach someone who knows literally nothing.
Yeah, but I'm also overjoyed to do this, because the thing is you shouldn't really have any bad habits. And if we do it properly,
my only bad habit is I probably suck at driving, but that's just a me thing.
You and everybody else in the police department. But if you learn everything properly.
Trust me, I know everyone in the police department has really bad driving, because I hang out with Peach and we're at Auto Exotic and people show up a lot.
Yeah. But this whole the whole thing about being new, it shouldn't be a problem for me. I'm really overjoyed to do this, because you don't have any of those bad habits that a lot of people coming in do. Like mixing up 10 codes, mixing up, like radio, because we can start from a clean slate and we can learn it properly. So if that takes a month, then it takes a month. Well, I don't want it to take a month. I want you to be in a spot where you can do what you can do. And I also want you to outshine some people, because that's just the way I like to train people. We're going to head back to the city.
Okay.
We are going to do another radio thing, and this is something you learned in Academy. So right now we are in a pursuit. Okay, it's a 1080. You see this 2-door sports car in front of us?
Yep.
That's the car we're chasing. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to start doing radio traffic, and you're gonna say what you think is right while we're on this pursuit. And I'm not gonna tell you to stop until I tell you to stop.
Tara, did you get the evidence out of your trunk?
Are you ready?
This is the thing I've been dreading.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. You can start now with the radio traffic.
344 Frank in active 1080 going southbound Sonora Freeway. Speed's about 50 miles per hour.
Okay. Now there needs to be a stop.
The issue is I don't know what to do when we're just on the straightaway and there's nothing around.
Well, what is around? Look to our left. What's that?
Windmills?
Oh my god, that's a huge landmark. Everyone knows where Windmills is, right?
I didn't, because I don't
So at 344, we're passing the windmills.
344 Frank passing windmills. Still
heading south, yeah. There you go.
Southbound Sonora Way.
The stops are important. The stops are very important. Embrace those stops because that allows people to say 621, 108, or 1017, I'll be en route. Watch commanders calling in a single 100 and all that. Continue your radio traffic.
Most of the time, once there's a secondary is doing radio for 1080s, right?
Yeah, but in this case, we're secondary.
Okay.
Continue your radio traffic. Landmarks, come on. She's got this. She's thinking.
Heading southbound onto Palomino Freeway. Speeds are still about 50 miles per hour.
Nearest postal, nearest landmark, what do you got?
Nearest postal 558.
Alright. So what you want to pay attention to while we're driving through here is look to our left right now. What's that? What's that building over there? That looks like a really unique building. Do you know what that is? Do you know what it's called? There's 2 words for it. There's either SASP headquarters or the Noose facility. Either or will be understood, but most of the people in here understand it as SASP headquarters, which is us, which is me.
So that's the building you work in.
Yes. But I actually just work in Mission Row. It's just a building that we can call ours, but it's not really. It's not something that really matters. So let's say now that these subjects have swapped to this vehicle. What would your radio traffic be? The vehicle to our 12 o'clock, which is in front of us.
1080 now, a red 4-door sedan. Speeds about 70 going southwest on Palomino Freeway. Nearest postal 772.
It's a SUV is what this class is. A sedan is one of those vehicles.
I'm not good with cars in city or out of city. I'm not a car.
I'm not either. However, there is 3 types of cars and or 4, and they're pretty easy to understand. What you understand, what type is what.
So SUV is like.
Well, the car we're driving in, basically.
Yeah, I know that.
It's like a van type or SUV. You know, it's just like a Suburban. Like
sedan is like a little car.
Yeah, you see that car to our right, that blue one? That's a sedan.
A truck's a truck.
A truck's a truck, and if you see a sports car, so any car that looks really nice, it's obviously a sports car. So that's something you missed. Is you didn't say the vehicle transition. So what you would have said if this had happened is 344 Frank, subjects are stepping into a vehicle. They're stealing a red 4-door SUV. And we're back on the 1080 heading south. And you would want to have a break in there, right? You want to have a second to where someone can get a radio in, because those breaks are important. So if we merge again to this, and we just started the 1080 again, you say 621 active pursuit in progress. We're going to be on La Pruta Freeway heading west. Okay, and you stop, right? Because obviously there's more stuff to say, but you want to wait until The watch commander says, single horn effect. The watch commander says, cancel the pursuit. We got another one going on. Or someone says over the radio, 8:56, I'll be en route. You wanna let that time. You wanna give them like 5-10 seconds to get that information out, and then you wanna go back over the radio again, and you have all priority, right? Like if you interrupt someone, that's fine. Just don't do it while they're talking. Like if you talk and someone else talks at the same time, continue to talk as you have lead on the pursuit. Right? So, you want to say the merging thing, and then after you've said all of your first traffic, you waited. Now you want to continue, right? Now we want to give a more specific description. Maybe we want to include the plate, and it's something that I would suspect is going to be difficult for you is phonetic codes, which I'll link you a sheet. Phonetic codes are not easy.
I know where to find it in Discord.
Okay, well, that's good.
I just know it's gonna take a while.
Yes, I still get mixed up on them.
Jameson told me as long as you use a word that is obviously starting with that letter and not.
Jameson's
another letter,
wrong. Don't listen to Jameson. He's
okay.
wrong.
And
No,
like-
he's wrong. He's wrong. Don't listen to Jameson.
Blame his FTO then.
Yeah. But what I will say is that is a good crotch. Don't use that though. It's really dumb. It's like some people are saying banana for B. It's really stupid. Don't do it.
So, I didn't open it, but is our phonetic code more geared towards Greek, or is it like Doug or dog or whatever it is?
There's two types of phonetic codes that we use. There's the FBI phonetic codes, Adam Boy Charles, and then the NATO phonetic codes, Alpha Bravo Charlie. That's the two phonetic codes we use, and they're all on that sheet.
Okay.
But what I will say is I'll continue on what I was saying, which is you just finished your original radio traffic for the 1080, so the pursuit's in progress. You just did your original radio traffic. You gave a 5 to 10 second stop to let people say they're en route or they're not en route or they're canceling, they're asking you to cancel or whatever. Now you want to continue with a more specific description on the vehicle, which is where you'll say it's going to be a blue in color vehicle model if you know it. So like I don't know what kind of vehicle model this is. So SUV, 4-door SUV, 1 times occupied, blue in color vehicle. Prepare for plate. I'm going to give another stop because this plate's going to be the longest thing about my radio traffic. Right? So I'm going to give a stop. I don't want to say it all at the same time. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait 5 seconds. And I'm going to say the plate. So right now, if you go in your eyes, so first person, you can see the plate kind of clear. For me, I can see it in my radar, but for you don't have it. But on my radar, I can actually see the plate clear as day because my ALPRs, which is the things on my roof, the little black things towards the back, I have one of those in my front grill thing that detects this plate. It's literally made to do that. So now I'll read the plate. So pay attention to what I say here, because I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the NATO phonetic alphabet or the FBI phonetic alphabet, because I just decide as I'm reading it. And I'll mix them up. So, 621, plate's going to be 85, Papa, Lincoln, Bravo, 280. And that's the plate. Okay? So I know that Lincoln, specifically, is a phonetic code for the FBI phonetic alphabet. And I know that the Bravo and whatever the first letter I said was both NATO.
Is Papa, I think, was the first one.
Yeah, so Papa, that's a NATO. So that's the military phonetic alphabet. It doesn't matter which one of those alphabets you use, but you should pick one. And if you wanna, if for some reason you have a military background, and some people do, where Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, all those call signs and phonetic alphabet letters are easier to come to you than Adam Boy Charles, then you should use the NATO one. If you don't have a preference and you think like people's names is a lot easier to say than Papa, so Paul's a lot easier for you to say than Papa, like coming from memory, then you should use the FBI alphabet, because that technically is the law enforcement alphabet, the FBI one. And I'll tell you right now that you'll get a lot of points for saying the phonetic alphabet correctly when you're rating plates. Not that it really matters, but what matters is you're not saying it like right now. The plate in front of us is ESS. Like that's the 3 letters. So like I wouldn't say I don't even know. I wouldn't say Eddie sandwich. Like I wouldn't say that. Like that would be dumb. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. That's my suggestion.
Okay.
But other than that, you did good on the radio traffic for the pursuit. Still stuff to learn, but for right now, we can check that off. Proper interaction with civilian. Yep. Responding call for service. Okay. Oh, we're almost done. Almost done with phase 1. We just got 1 or 2 more things to check off, and then we're officially done. So I have a question now. Let's see if you have the answer, whether it be correct or incorrect. Let's say that you are you are one of 2 officers on duty. Okay, and I say officers. Anytime I say officers, I do mean everybody. Officers come. It's easier to say than deputies and officers. But let's say you're one of the 2 people who are on duty, and one of you is in Sandy, and one of you, you specifically, are in the city. A call comes over the radio, like there's a 911 call from dispatch, and let's say we actually have dispatch and they're saying stuff. But the call comes over the radio, and it's a city call. What do you say over the radio if you have decided that you're responding? And in this case, the 911 call is referencing a downed civilian at Auto Exotics, like we just had. What's your radio traffic? I like that you stopped
344
here.
Frank responding to latest 911 injured person at Auto Exotics. I don't know what to do when there's only 2 people.
I'm glad you thought about it. I'm glad you thought. I'm glad you stopped and you thought about what you're saying, because what you said was near perfect. A few issues there and there,
I questioned
but
the very end because I was like, wait, if there's only 2 people, do I really need to say all of this?
I would say yes. I do radio traffic when I'm alone in the city. No joke. I do radio traffic when I'm alone in the city. And I could get in the nitty-gritty of why it's important, but it's really just it's a practice thing. It helps. Because even I need practice. But what I will say is, towards the end of your radio traffic, it kind of got a little bit sloppy. But the original stuff, 344 Frank, show me en route, or I'll be en route to the injured person at Auto Exotics. Textbook, perfect.
That's why I said I got questionable at the end.
Yeah, you just weren't sure, which is fine because you're still learning. But eventually you don't want that to happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're the only officer on duty. Same call. What's your radio traffic, if you do any?
.344 Frank en route to injured person at Auto Exotics.
Perfect. Literally perfect.
Yay.
Well done. Because there is nothing else that needs to be said. I'm there. I'm en route. And you can mix 10 codes if you want. You can do plain talk. It doesn't really matter. There's an expectation that people understand 10 codes, which is an expectation I will have for you, that you would learn the 10 codes and understand them, and at least have it open on a notepad or write it down on a notepad so you'd have a basic understanding of what 1017 is, 1023, 1078, specifically 1078, because that is an important call.
1078 is for assistance, like more units.
I will only say that when I'm on traffic stops. I specifically. I might be the only person who ever uses it, but when I use it, you better know that I need someone there. Because the only time I'm using it is because I don't want the subject to know that I'm requesting an additional. So I'll literally come over the radio and I'll say it really nonchalantly, 621, 1078. And I'll say it exactly like that. Now, while I wouldn't say that's perfectly proper radio traffic, I don't want it to be, give me an additional, this person's being uncooperative. That gives him a hint that I'm requesting more additionals and I'm getting ready to pull him out of the vehicle. And he'll have an advantage, and I don't want him to have that advantage.
But if you use the 10 code, most civilians don't know 10 codes, so
Yes.
they're just like, okay, he's talking to them about something.
Yeah, and then I can mix it up. I can say, like, if I think the scene's going bad, I can say 1099, which, to do my memory, I believe it's officer in distress. Now, mind you, I'm not looking at these. I'm recalling these from memory, so 1080 might not even be pursuit.
I think 1080 is pursuit because I was in
Because
earlier.
the call signs changed recently, so 10-0 was originally pursuit, but I think it's a death now.
1 sec.
Because we had it to
Yeah.
think changed.
1080 is a pursuit, 10-0 is death.
Yeah, 10-0.
That's gonna be the habit I need to break, is saying 0 instead of O, because Southern, we don't say 0.
Yeah, because what's easier to hear over the radio? Show me the 10-0. Show me the 10-0.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's two things that are used in aviation radio traffic specifically when it comes to numbers, and that's 0 and 9er. Because these words are somewhat harder to hear, or these numbers are harder to hear when said, and especially when the radio's not doing the best. So if I ever read a plate, so right now the plate is 2-9er, I will always say 9er. And I will never say O. I'll always say 0. And that's a habit that you should get into, because if you say O, people think it's the letter O. If you say 0, people think the number 0.
Yeah, I asked the question earlier of, like, license plates in general. I was like, is it an O or a 0? And they're like, most of the time it's a 0.
Yeah, so for an example is it goes number, 3 letters, number. So there's 5 numbers total and 3 letters total.
Got it. Sorry.
That's fine. I'm getting tired as well because I'm starting to lose my voice. But with that being said, we are officially finished phase 1. I'm going to move on to phase 2 tomorrow, if you're around.
We will see. I don't know. I haven't figured how often I play Alter Ego or not. Because she also is making money.
Yeah, it's completely up to you on how you do all that stuff. For me, this is my only ego that really matters. Like, I have other ones, but that's specifically for setting up quote-unquote RP scenes for everybody. It's not for something that I do on my free time. Because this would be my main, what I'm on now.
Well, the idea is turned into, was gonna be criminal, turned into wanting to be business mastermind.
Yeah, and doing the whole time management thing is a difficult process, but a lot of people do it properly, so I'm sure you wouldn't have any problem.
Well, it's gonna get difficult in a couple of weeks because out of the city, I'm a teacher and I ain't gonna have time soon. Or not as much time. Like, I'm still on break.
Okay. Alright, we can head back inside. I just want to make sure this is all written up. But yeah, I hope you learned as much as I could teach you on this 3-hour journey here.
Yeah.
I have definitely. I'm gonna have a. My voice is gonna be gone tomorrow, but.
That's why I'm thinking if we just take a break, then we'll.
Well,
I'm
I'm still gonna be doing what I'm doing right now. It's just I won't be training someone. I'll just be speaking my head off.
Ah.
This is my life. All right. So, phase 1 done. I'll write the notes tomorrow. We're officially on phase 2, which means I need to change your thingy, my bobber. Right now, I'm just updating you on the roster so you can show as phase 2.
Okay. I was also thinking about if we don't get anyone in dispatch, possibly also doing that from time to time, because it would be nice to have actual dispatch.
I would say that your radio traffic is going to have to be pretty solid to do that.
I know.
So I would give some real hours, maybe 50 hours as a cop before you really actually consider that. Maybe less. Clearly you're picking this up pretty quick as long as you're thinking about it. So might be a little bit less. Just I would recommend we can have a conversation about it and we can see where your radio traffic is so you don't make a mistake, right? That's the last thing I want you to do, right? But yeah, I'm sure that Mr. Noah Haynes would be very pleased to hear that from somebody, because he's always looking for some people.
It would just be nice to, have someone else helping out with it, because sometimes you can't always keep up with everything in your head of where everyone is at all times. But dispatch, that's part of their job.
Yeah, dispatch is an extremely useful tool that a lot of us, some of us have a little bit of disliking to it, but a lot of us, myself included, really love having it. It makes everything so much more fun. Because instead of saying, 621, show me en route, it's 621, I will show you en route. That's dispatch talking to 621.
Yeah.
All right, I think everything's done. So on the roster, you are now marked off as phase 2. If anyone asks you anything about, phases or anything like that, send them my way. Unless they're just wondering where you're at with it, fill them in, let them know. But other than that, I think you've done well. I think we learned a lot. Phase 2, we're going to be doing more driving stuff. Just speaking about pits and stuff like that. I'd recommend watching that video you were referencing earlier, because that will give me a really good preface of before we go and actually do it, and it'll help you.
Okay.
But if you need to find out where that video is, I can send you in the right direction.
I think I know where it is. I think
it's in the Leo News.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, you're free to hop off duty and go to do what you need to do today, or this evening, I suppose.
Nope. I'm just gonna go bother start real quick.
All right. 621, show 344, Frank no longer attached to my call sign. I'll be off data service. Have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of today's stream. I appreciate everyone coming in here, watching, chilling, doing their thing, following, subbing, doing all that. Thank you very much. It's a 2-hour, 34-minute stream. I'm going to go and head off to duty. I'm going to go have a good snooze, let my voice rest, because I've been talking a lot today and starting to lose my voice, and man, it's a crazy day today. Like the new Proby, she's definitely got potential. I like it. I think a lot can be done, a lot can be learned. I'm happy to hear that she's a teacher and that my teaching methods are assisting her. That's a surprising fact for me, but hey, it doesn't matter who they are. I can always try my best to teach them. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you tomorrow here around the same time, the stream time. Join my Discord if you want to keep updated on all the Discord information and all of that. You can watch the stuff on YouTube here in about 2 hours. See you later, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching.